So now that we actually have a world, we're ready to make that static rectangle that we've been talking about all this time. So just to give you an overview of how adding objects to Box2D works, in order to add an object, say like this rectangle, we got to give it a shape definition, and we also got to give it a body definition. And some of the differences between these two definitions is shape deals with things like making the shape, what's the width, what's the height of this. It also deals with things like friction. As far as body deals with things like damping, so it has some different properties. And body also deals with the position. And also in body, that's where you relate a sprite or a movie clip with your object. So later on, we'll go through the process of adding a movie clip from the library to this object that we're about to create. So with that out of the way, let's just go ahead and start making our object. So we're going to start by defining our shape. And we are going to use something, so we're going to, since it's a rectangle, I'll just call it box definition. And we're going to use a B2 polygon definition object. And since this is a rectangle, there is a function called setAsBox, which you pass in two parameters, the width and the height, and we're going to pass in 3 and 1. And remember, 1 meter equals 30 pixels. So this is actually 90 and 30. So this is actually a width of 90 and a height of 30. So just keep that in mind. And so we got that going, and we're just going to set the friction as 0.3. And generally you want this to be between 0 and 1. 0 being no friction, 1 being absolute friction, total friction. So you can mess around with the values later. We won't actually see a difference because right now we're generally just working towards making one static body. One static object up here. So now we have our shape definition. Next we're going to define our body. And we're going to use a B2 body def object. And I'm just going to call mine body def for definition. B2 body def. And this is where we associate a sprite with the rectangle we're going to make. And then for now we're just going to keep it simple, and we're going to make a new sprite object, and that way the debug draw that we'll set up later will just draw it for us. So we'd say body def user data new sprite, and we also want to set the width for the sprite right now off the back. So user data, so width, and I'm just going to copy and paste that for height. And the width is already set up here. It's 90 and the height is 30, so we'll just go ahead and put that. And remember, this isn't actually in meters because this is using the sprite class and not a Box2D class. So you have to put the actual pixel value for this. And the next thing we're going to do is set the position of this, and it's position.set, and it's XY value, and this is in meters, so we do have to use the Box2D conversion. So this is going to be roughly x equals 165 and y equals 300. So we can eyeball this and then mess around with it later. So we have this added. Now in order to view this on the canvas, we have to add the sprite to the canvas, and the way we do that is we say add child. And add child is just a reserved word from Flash that lets Flash know, hey, I want the sprite to be added to the canvas. So it's body def, and we have to add the sprite, which is user data. And there we go. So the sprite is added. So it's added to the canvas. We still have to make this object in the world, and the way we do that is we have to make a new variable that is a B2 body. And the reason is when we create a static body, it's going to throw back a body, and from that information we can make a shape. So we're going to call our world. I'm going to say create static body, and we're going to pass in the body definition. and this is going to throw back a body at us, and with this we'll be able to create the shape using the box definition. And for this we also usually want to set the mask, so we'll do this automatically by calling the set mask from shape function. And we are good to go. So we just added a shape to the world. And we just got to do a couple more things to actually see the shape show up on the canvas. So if you go ahead and run it, we shouldn't see anything, but hopefully we won't get any compile errors. So it looks like we got one error in here. Let's double click that. Undefined set from. So put that there from shape, and we should be pretty good. Oh, one more error. Oh no. Set mask from shape. Call to possibly undefined from shape. So it's got to have that S in there. Alright, we are good to go. So we are almost there.